purpose of government, the proper role of government, is to ensure that our God-given rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are protected. That governments were instituted to defend liberty and to ensure that people have the ability to go build a life for themselves without oppressive intrusion from the government. Governments were also meant to preserve property rights, to make sure they were well defined and enforced so that your neighbor couldn't come in and take what you've earned and built. And it was to make sure that you were defended from enemies, both foreign and domestic, who would threaten, again, life, liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. It is not the role of the federal government to create jobs. It's not. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we're in the mess we're in as a country, is that they've shot past, they think their job is to create jobs. Well, government, again, is to make sure, their role is to make sure that property rights are well defined and enforceable, that people can build a business, move forward, collect the product of their labor, and invest it again. And they're meant to facilitate market, not create them. You look at our issues we're having in this country around, I was just talking today with the mayor of Ephraim. Norbest turkeys is being killed because of feed prices. Why? Because the government has decided, federally, to fund ethanol subsidies and to help prop up an industry that wasn't ready, and now it's crushing a lot of other things we do. There are so many network effects of the government trying to create jobs. They would do a better job of creating jobs by just doing nothing and creating a predictable environment where people could go, build a business, and get a return on their investment by appealing to the consumers who buy their product. Now, of course, there's some jobs in government, defense, and things like along those lines that are the proper role of government. There will be some government jobs. But to think that government creates jobs is a false premise, in that every job the government creates, it's at the expense of private capital in a private marketplace where I think it's better employed. I believe in broadening the base, lowering the rates, and stop playing favorites. 47% of Americans don't pay any federal income tax. Meanwhile, the best investment you can make as a lobbyist or as a corporation is get a lobbyist to get your own tax exemption, like GE. We've created all these loopholes and tax codes that are thousands of pages long. Now, my preference is to get to a consumption tax, where we have to fund government, but that should be done equitably across all people in a society. We're all part of this country, and there should not be redistributive taxes anywhere. So for me, broaden the base, lower the rate, stop playing favorites. That starts with cutting down all the subsidies for different industries, picking winners and losers, making sure that everybody is participating in the funding of our government. I think if everybody was equally paying equally and having an equal voice and understanding that they are contributing as well, we would do things differently. But right now, we have a winner and loser taxation system, and it's not right. A felony is a felony. Identity theft is a felony. Whether you're doing it as an illegal immigrant or as a regular citizen of the United States, all of those crimes should be prosecuted. This is not some traffic violation. Those are real issues that impact people's lives and allow people to take over identities and blow people's credit and ruin people's lives. We have them on the books as a felony for a reason. So anybody who's an illegal immigrant who's committing felonies, as well-intentioned as they might be, that is a deportable offense and they should be gone. We can make the United States energy self-sufficient right now. This state is sitting on a treasure trove of oil and gas. And the state lands, our state lands, which are being managed federally, we need access to those lands. I was in the Uinta Basin last week. We have just this treasure of oil and gas out there that the federal government will not allow the state of Utah to access because for some reason they do not want us developing our own natural resources here. We are sitting on a couple of trillion barrels of shale oil in southern Utah. You access those things. Then the battles over the Straits of Hormuz, where we're all concerned about Iran closing down the strait, wouldn't matter. Energy independence is a national security issue. And we've become entangled all over the world because we refuse to address reality and actually drill responsibly at home. We can do it responsibly. We, in the state of Utah, we live here. We want to live here. And we want to live here for generations to come. We can do so responsibly. And our federal energy policy and lands policy is a hindrance to energy development and economic development of this country. That needs to change. You do that by removing some bureaucrats. They just have too much time on their hand, and pulling back control over those lands to the state where they should have been originally. When you have a culture that says that women can't vote and are second-class citizens, that's a culture that is against American exceptionalism. We're the country of suffrage, universal suffrage, where everybody can vote and participate. We put women of intelligence in high places and vote them there because we look at ability and individual brilliance as our measuring sticks, not a gender. And any society that says systematically that women are inferior to men, or that a certain race is superior or inferior to another, that's antithetical to the United States. Now, we've had our challenges, certainly, but broadly, our mandate is that we are all created equal, and we should all have an opportunity to, based on our individual work ethic, our own talents and abilities, to build a life for ourselves. I think the pushing of Sharia law or some of these other legal codes, which are outdated, and also which oppress certain groups of people just because of their birth, are wrong. And we can never let that take hold in this land of ours, because that is, again, the antithesis of what it means to be an American. We are the shining city on the hill. We should be the magnet for the best and brightest of all genders, faiths, creeds all over the world to come here and to be part of this society, the greatest society on the earth. And it is antithetical to me to have a legal system that competes with those principles. And so we've got to fight that at every turn. In my opinion, the greatest threat we face in this country is that federalism has become unbalanced. The federal government has tried to be all things to all people. The biggest area where that's manifest is in our federal budget, where we've abused the full faith and credit of the United States, overspent, put thousands and thousands of dollars per person in debt of the new generation coming up, and really put us in a situation as a country where we are beholden to our enemies, we are out of money, and we've made promises that are going to be difficult to keep. The only way to get back to that is to start getting back to the fundamental principles of what we should be doing. One of the first questions in this interview: what's the proper role of government? Should the government be doing all the stuff it's doing? I think we would argue now is no, they shouldn't be. And so, what we're going to do? We're going to rebalance back to the states, because in the states we live in reality. We balance budgets. We make choices. We're also going to push back to get to the fundamental principles of the Constitution around the sovereign nature of the states and the balance with the federal government, and unwind some of the abuses of the Commerce Clause and the General Welfare Clause. But the impetus for all of this is we are out of money. So that may be the best thing we have going for us. We've tried the audacity of hope, as Obama says, the hope and change thing. It takes more audacity to say no. We need a little bit of the audacity of nope in my generation to say, you know what, no, that's not the role of government. You can do it on your own, but we've got to reset expectations as a people as to what government can and cannot do. If we do not do that, the choices will be socialism and inequality of a misery of outcomes. Or if we can make the case and do it with dedication to these principles, return ourselves to individual liberty and have equality of opportunity in this country, I think we will return it back to liberty. Our work as a country is not done by a long shot. We are the great hope of the world. And I'm just convinced that it's going to be a new generation of people who are going to go back to Washington, make the fight, take the fight there, and actually get something done for a change. So this is the best time to be in government because we're really out of choices, and the choices are stark. Do we allow us to continue down the road we're on to socialism, or do we rebalance back to the core principles that have made this country the greatest country in the history of mankind? So anyway, I'm excited to run, and that's what I plan to do. The Founding Fathers were concerned about the establishment of a single religion over government. And so they were concerned about separating church and state, but they understood that there was a proper role of religion in public life. They acknowledged God in the Declaration of Independence, and they publicly acknowledged the role of the Creator in this great country. We've taken that way too far to say there's no room for political discourse around religion. Now, government should not be promoting one religion over another, but our society is based on Judeo-Christian values. And those values are important. You know, it's the family and the support of the family that religion provides is the fundamental unit of our society. And it is the original and best Department of Health, Education, Welfare, etc. Well, all of those, the support for the family has traditionally largely come from our religious institutions. And if you, as Gandhi once said, people who try to separate religion from politics don't understand religion. It's very much a part of politics. The real difference between separation of church and state is they were concerned about creating a Church of England, which would be the dominant religion where everybody would lose religious liberty and be forced to join one over the other. And I think we've taken that too far. The absence of religion in the public square is religion in and of itself. And I think that we've gone too far on that issue.